Hey, what's going on? Quis here from Sports Vibes TV, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing this 3-team trade I came up with. Now this trade, I think, is going to address all the major concerns for the New York Knicks, and it's going to bolster our roster as we make this playoff push here in the second half. So if you like this video, do me a solid, smash that like button, and if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, that way you're notified whenever I drop a new video. I got a bunch of Knicks content here on the channel, cover Knicks news. I got 2 Knicks shows, KSOM and the Knicks Report, and I also do realistic rebuilds like this. So if you're interested in anything like that, make sure you're subscribed. Now for this video, I just want to give you one disclaimer. All these moves are made under the assumption that the Knicks go out and get Andre Drummond on the buyout market. Now you'll see as we jump into the trade machine, Andre Drummond will already be on the team, and he's on the team in a funky 1-year, $2.1 million deal. That was all the trade machine would allow me to do. I was trying to put him on a league minimum salary, but they wouldn't let me do that. So we're gonna work with one year, 2.7 mil, and you guys let me know what you think. So let's jump right into the trade machine and see what's going on. So now, as you can see, we're in the trade machine, and the 3 teams that are going to be involved in this deal are the Knicks, the Pistons, and the Pelicans. So the team we're going to start with first, the Pelicans. So what are the Pelicans going to be giving up? Well, they're going to be giving up none other than Lonzo Ball. So we're going to bring over Lonzo Ball, trade him to the Knicks, and Lonzo Ball is going to be our solution at point guard for the future. We're going to extend him. We're not going to make a deal for him and not decide to extend him to a long-term deal. And I think Lonzo Ball is a perfect fit for this team right now. He's shooting lights out. Last night he had a great game against the Trailblazers at 17 assists. I think his facilitating would be perfect for this team. And also I think he'd be perfect for Julius Randle. With the starters, the offense runs through Julius Randle. And I think Lonzo Ball has shown that he's great at catch and shoot situations. So when the defense tries to react to, Julius Randle, Lonzo Ball should see a lot of open shot opportunities, and he'll be able to attack the defense when they're trying to close out and rotate. And, he's a wizard when it comes to passing the ball. So it'll be a great fit here on this team. And Lonzo Ball also gets a lot of steals, and he's pretty decent defensively. So I think this trade would be great for us because we're bringing in that point guard of the future. Now, the second part of this deal, well, not the second part, but the second piece of this deal would be Josh Hart. So we're going to trade Josh Hart to the Knicks. And I think Josh Hart is going to help when it comes to the deficiencies we have at small forward. Now you might look at Josh Hart and you say, isn't he a little too small to be playing small forward? Well, the New Orleans Pelicans at times have been playing Josh Hart at the 4. So Josh Hart is a player that has proven that he can guard 3 different positions out there on the court, being shooting guard, small forward, and power forward. So I think Josh Hart would be perfect to give some minutes at the 3 and kind of take away minutes from Reggie Bullock. I think we would get a lot more from Josh Hart, and I think he would fit this Tom Thibodeau system. So that's going to be it from the Pelicans. Now we have to move over and show what the Knicks would be giving up or sending over to the New Orleans Pelicans. So one of the first players, Austin Rivers. He's a spare piece. We're not playing him at all. I think right now he's still away from the team. So we're going to send him over. Oh, I sent him to the Pistons by accident. Whoopsie. Send him to the Pelicans. So the next piece we're going to be sending over is Alfred Payton. Now you guys might say, Alfred Payton has that no trade clause. He's not going to want to be traded. Well, if I were in the front office, I would call Payton in and I'd be like, listen here, Alfred. You could either be a bench warmer in New York City, one of the most expensive cities to live in with high cost of living and, very high taxes. Or you can go over to New Orleans, your home state, your home city, home state, and play over there where the cost of living is a lot cheaper. And you might, get a little bit more time to play, seeing that the New Orleans Pelicans are, kind of rebuilding, and they might let you play. Because right now we're trying to play for something, trying to get into the playoffs. And this, of course, is me thinking that the Pelicans are going to fall into a very long losing streak. If you look at the Pelicans roster right now, I mean, not roster, if you look at the Pelicans schedule right now, I know they're in playoff contention, but I would not be surprised or shocked if they lost the next 6 games, because they're going up against the Nuggets, they're going against the Lakers, they're going against the Trailblazers again, they're going against the Warriors. They got some stiff competition, so they very well could be out of the playoff race and looking to start selling. So I would say, hey, Payton, go over there and be a bench warmer. It'd be a lot cheaper for you. So we're going to send him over to New Orleans. And then also we're going to send over Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox is going to go over to the Pelicans. He's a reclamation project. They can try to build him up, I guess, similar to the way they're building up Brandon Ingram. I guess there's similar body styles. You know, maybe they can work that out that way. But things have not worked with Kevin Knox here in New York. So we're going to send him out. Now, that is probably not going to be enough. Well, that is most likely not going to be enough to get Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart. So we're going to have to include some picks. So what are we going to include? We're going to send over the Clippers 2021 pick. And, oh, whoopsie, another mistake. This is a pick that's probably not going to materialize. See? Yeah, it's going to be extinguished. The Clippers would have to have a higher pick than us, which could be possible if we get to the playoffs and we have a long playoff run, but not too likely. So we're going to send over the Dallas pick. Send it to the Pelicans. And we're also going to send over Dallas's 2023. Where is it? Yeah. So 2 firsts and Kevin Knox, basically, for Lonzo and Josh Hart. I think that's a reasonable deal, especially when that first, if you look at how many protections are on that first round pick, that first round pick very easily could become a second round pick. Yo, what am I doing? Where's the 2023? Did I not send it? What did I send then? Oh, don't tell me I sent it to the Pistons. I always do this. Yep. Sent it to the Pistons. So now let's look at that 2023 pick. It's protected 1 through 10 in 23, 24, and 25. And if we don't get it by 25, it becomes a second round pick. So, you know, I'll be willing to give that up if we're going to get the point guard of our future. So that's going to be it when it comes to the pieces going between the Pelicans and the Knicks. Now, when it comes to the Pistons, we're going to be sending Frank Ntilikina straight to the Pistons. We're going to be sending Mitchell Robinson. Yes, Mitchell Robinson to the Pistons. And we're also going to be sending 2 second-round picks. So we're going to be sending Detroit back their second-round pick. And we're also going to be sending the Utah Jazz's second-round pick. Where is it? 2023. There we go. We're going to be sending that to the Pistons. And in return, we'll be receiving Jerami Grant. Now, I know you're wondering, why would we trade Mitchell Robinson? Well, if we're going to be bringing in Andre Drummond to me would then be the starter, and that would make Mitchell Robinson expendable. Now, if you know me, if you've been watching the videos on the channel, I really don't want Andre Drummond on the team, but this is me being impartial and just trying to say what would work for the greater good of the Knicks, whether I like it or not. So we're going to be bringing in Andre Drummond. Mitchell Robinson is expendable. Frank Nitty is an expiring deal, and we're going to be giving up some second-round picks in order to receive Jerami Grant. Jerami Grant has been killing for the Pistons right now. He's been out there doing his thing. And he's been doing it as the first option. He's been doing it as the first option on a team that really doesn't have many other options outside of him. So imagine if he were to come over to the Knicks and be playing with Julius Randle, Andre Drummond, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, RJ Barrett, Manuel Quickley. You know, he'd have the freedom to get better looks, and he wouldn't have to work as hard. So his numbers may drop a little bit, but I think he'd be more efficient. and he's a perfect 3-and-D wing for Tom Thibodeau and for this Knicks team. But I think this would be a great deal. This would set us up beautifully when it comes to our starting lineup, because then we would have Lonzo, we would have RJ still in the starting lineup, we would have Jerami Grant, we would have Julius Randle, and then we would have Andre Drummond. That would be our starting five, and I think that's a starting five that a lot of teams would not want to face in the playoffs. That's a team that's going to beat you up down low between Drummond and Julius Randle, and then that's also a team that can get up and run between Lonzo, between IQ. You know, Obi is probably going to be unlocked with the addition of Lonzo Ball. RJ, there's a bunch of players on that team, on this team now, set up like this, that can really make opposing teams, you know, have headaches out there on the court. Who are we going to guard? Who are we going to try to stop? You try to stop Julius Randle, and there's going to be an abundance of options out there. So I think this team, or this trade scenario, would be perfect for the Knicks, and I think it works for the other teams as well. The Pelicans are going to get 2 first-round picks to help expedite their rebuild process. The Pistons are going to get a starting center in Mitchell Robinson, and they're going to get their 2nd-round pick back, which is going to be good because they're trying to rebuild as well. So it works for all parties involved. Now it's just going to come down to see if the trade will go through. And boom, trade is a success. And when you see how the team looks when it comes to the projected wins, the Knicks, they get 6 wins better. Pistons, they get 12 wins better. You know, they're getting their center of the future, so it makes sense for them. And the Pelicans, they get worse, but now they're getting 2 first-round picks in order to help build around Zion, or maybe even move those pieces, those first-round picks, in order to bring in another star to pair with Brandon Ingram and to pair with Zion Williamson. So I think this would be a trade that would work for all parties involved, and I don't think any fan base would probably be in outrage. But if you want to see how this would look on the court, let's just jump over real quick to the actual court view. And this is to give you an idea of how our team would look. I think this would be very competitive, like practice games, if you look at these 2 lineups. I think it would be perfect. You have the starting lineup on the left-hand side, and you have the second unit on the right-hand side. As you can see, like I said before, Lonzo, RJ, Jerami Grant, Julius Randle, Andre Drummond. And then backing them up, you have Derrick Rose, you have Emmanuel Quickley, you have Josh Hart, you have Obi, and you have Nerlens Noel. So I think this trade, it doesn't take too much from the team. It allows us to still be a deep team. You know, as you can see, we've got pretty good backups at every single position. You know, if God forbid an injury were to happen, you would not complain if you had to make one of these backups to start. Maybe Obi, you probably complain about Obi. But if there were, God forbid, an injury, you probably wouldn't start Obi. You'd probably just move Grant over and have someone else start at the 3. So I think this would be perfect for the Knicks. And also in this scenario, the Knicks would still retain their own 1st-round pick. So we would still have picks, at least a pick this year, in order to build some more and add some more depth to the team. And another thing I like about this deal is, let's jump right into the trade machine again. Let me adjust the trade. Let's go right back into the trade machine. If you look, we still aren't too compromised when it comes to cap space. We're going to have enough cap space to re-sign Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, and we'd still have enough cap space to re-sign Andre Drummond. We sent off a bunch of expiring deals, and we didn't get any major long-term deals in return. We got Jerami Grant, and Jerami Grant is in the same, same field as Julius Randle, and a player that's outperforming their contract. So I'd rather have a bunch of, contracts on my salary cap in which players are overachieving, as opposed to having players that you would say are underachieving and overpaid. You could argue Julius Randle and Jerami Grant right now are underpaid in what, based off what they're providing for their team. I think it would be perfect, but let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think this would be a trade you'd be open to? Do you think this is a trade the Knicks should consider? Because I think it checks off all the points. It gives us everything we need. It gives us a long-term option at point guard, addresses our issues at small forward. And, you know, even though we trade Mitchell Robinson, we still have Andre Drummond. And if he were on the team right now with Mitchell Robinson, he'd be the starter anyway. And, you know, you still have Nerlens Noel as a backup, who is giving us basically the same performance or same level of play that we were getting from Mitchell Robinson. So once again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'm Quis, host of Sports Vibes TV, and I'm out.